Today, we're digging into a totally different way to think about cybersecurity. We're calling it the resilience doctrine. And really, it's all about shifting away from chasing this impossible dream of perfection and instead building something much, much stronger, a truly resilient organization.
So let's just jump right in with a number. What do you think the real possibility is of achieving 100% totally perfect, absolutely unbreakable cybersecurity? Well, after decades of experts trying their best, the answer is right here. 0%. Not close to zero, not almost zero, just zero.
Now, I know that might sound a little bleak, but hear me out. It's actually freeing. This quote just nails it. It's a lesson learned the hard way, from people in the trenches. The point isn't to get rid of all risk, because, spoiler, you can't. The real goal is to manage it smart.
And this isn't just some random opinion. This wisdom comes from Professor Dayu Kao, who's a legit triple threat in this field. We're talking 30 years of experience, and not just in one area. He's been a VP of financial security in the private sector, a tech-focused cop for the government, and a university professor. So when he talks, you know it's not just theory, it's been battle-tested. So, what happens when companies get this wrong? What's the fallout from chasing this myth of 100% perfect security? Well, they often end up ignoring the basics, the real foundations, and that can lead straight into a total crisis. Let's look at a real-world example, the PXPay incident. This is a textbook case of a company that grew super fast, but its security planning just didn't. It couldn't keep up. And this story really shows you the danger of having that flawed, we-can-be-perfect mindset.
Okay, the timeline here is what's really wild. The first warning shot comes in July. Test credentials show up on the dark web. That's a huge red flag, right? But then, crickets. For 3 critical months, absolutely nothing happens. It's not until the end of October that they even start hiring for a CISO. By November, it's game over. The breach is public, and it's the customers who are seeing the fraudulent charges.
So what was the real problem? Yeah, okay, on a technical level, the test and live systems weren't separated. But the real failures, the ones that matter, they were all about the culture. That early warning signal got lost somewhere in the corporate ladder. Security just wasn't seen as something that actually impacted the business. And the fallout was real and immediate. Customers lost their money and their trust in the company, gone.
And this really gets us to the heart of the issue. It's not about one little technical oopsie. It's about a mindset that's fundamentally broken. So many companies are just stuck checking boxes for compliance when what they should be aiming for is true resilience.
You can see this broken culture in how people think about security audits. Way too often, everyone treats it like it's this big, scary game of gotcha, find the mistake, point the finger. But that completely misses the entire point. An audit isn't about assigning blame. It's about building resilience. It's about finding risks and fixing them before they turn into a nightmare. This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got certification. Think of it as passing a test. It's important, sure, but it's just a snapshot in time. It's the bare minimum. But on the right, you have resilience, and that is the ultimate goal. It's not a one-and-done thing, it's dynamic. It's a non-stop cycle of getting better, tailored to the threats you actually face. Think of it like this. Certification gets you to the starting line. Resilience is the actual race, and you have to keep running it, day in and day out.
So at the end of the day, every leader has to make a choice. Are you managing for hope? Just hoping you don't get hit, hoping those certificates on the wall are enough? Or are you managing for risk, accepting that the bad guys are coming and building a system that can actually take a punch and keep going?
Okay, so if that old model is broken, what's the fix? Well, it's a modern defense strategy, one that's built on layers and thinking ahead, not just reacting when things go wrong. And honestly, the best way to think about this is to compare it to public health. There's no single magic pill to keep everyone healthy forever, right? Of course not. What we have are layers of protection, vaccines, screenings, good hygiene that all work together to lower risk. Cybersecurity is exactly the same. So let's break down these layers. Layer 1 is the vaccine. This is all your preventative stuff, making your systems tougher, running scans, getting those certifications. It's all about shrinking the target on your back. Then you've got screening. These are your everyday detection tools, your antivirus, firewalls, EDR, constantly checking for anything that looks off. And finally, and this is so crucial, you have isolation. This is your damage control plan. If a breach does happen, you contain it. You use network segmentation so it can't just spread everywhere. You control the blast radius.
And here's the cool part. When you build a system that's truly resilient, something really interesting happens. Cybersecurity stops being this thing you have to spend money on, and it starts becoming a real strategic advantage for your business.
But the key to making that happen is the culture. You have to get your team to believe before they see. They need to buy into the strategy, to trust that what they're building is making the whole company more secure, and because of that, more successful. You're shifting the mindset from fear to vision.
So a modern security team really has two jobs. The first is what we'll call substance or lidza. This is the core mission, the nitty-gritty, solving the real problems, managing risk, hunting for threats. The second is the market side or mienza, which is like your public face. This is about projecting strength, building the company's brand, making investors confident, and helping the business grow. See, when you have real substance, you earn that market trust.
Which brings us to the big question you should be asking about your own organization. Is your security team just a cost center, a department you have to check a box? Or is it a finely tuned engine for resilience that not only protects the company, but builds trust and actually helps it win? That's the question every leader needs to be able to answer.